Hey everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where I come up with healthier versions of things you love to eat. Now, here's my funny of the day. So back when I was a kid, maybe into a young adult, I used to think that red lobster was a healthy option to eat. Of course, I know much better now, but one of the things I do miss, and I just remember, it's just kind of one of those traditions, was the Cheddar Bay biscuits. They were phenomenal. So this is my answer to that. We are doing a keto version of it. It's not that difficult, not a lot of ingredients involved, and they actually work up and bake up pretty flippin' awesome and taste pretty dang good. So we are going to use almond flour today. Now I know there is a version of it where you can use coconut flour, but just be aware that coconut flour absorbs moisture a lot differently. So if there's not really a swap over, you have to actually do some calculations there. But the first thing I'm going to do is turn on my oven to 400 degrees, so preheat. And I'm actually going to use a piece of parchment paper, which is, of course, my favorite cooking tool, on my pan. It makes it super easy for cleanup, and it doesn't stick to the pan and cause some issues when I'm cleaning. Now, again, I don't have a medium-sized bowl. I have a big bowl and I have a little bowl. So we're going to use the big bowl right now. And really all we're going to do is we're going to throw our ingredients together. So the first thing I'm going to start with is some almond flour, which is awesome. I always have some on hand because we use this enough that it's kind of nice to have it. You don't have to go out and rush and buy some. So I'm going to do 1.5 cups of almond flour. Again, you can use coconut flour. I am not a fan, of course, of regular white flour from, obviously made from wheat, bleached flour, whole wheat flour, even just gluten is just not something I think the average person should be eating, especially not in our country. All right, so I'm going to do 1.5 cups. Now this is a 1/2 cup measure. And yes, I'm using my clean fingers. Okay, like I said, I store quite a bit of this on hand because I do like it. I like to use it for recipes. Okay, so to that, I'm going to add just a quick pinch of salt. It's really up to you. It's kind of a taste thing, but I am adding some cheese, and the cheese does have a little bit of sodium in it. So we use the Celtic sea salt at my house. I'm just going to use a pinch, which again, I'd say I'm going to eyeball it, but I can't actually see them here. So just a pinch of salt. All right, to that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder because, of course, these things need to rise. So baking powder, just straight from the store there. 1 tablespoon, that sounds like a lot. Is it a teaspoon? No, it's actually 1 full tablespoon. And they do cook up well. So again, I like to test all these things out before I try them with you because I want to make sure they actually work and they turn out the way that they're supposed to. All right, to this, I'm also going to add 1/3 cup of sour cream. Now, I prefer to use whole sour cream, not light, because the ingredients are basic. You know that processed food, the more processed it is, the more ingredients it has, the worse it is for you. So this is just regular sour cream, and in it, it just contains cultured cream and enzymes. Well, it's a topic for another day on enzymes, but 2 ingredients. So that's what we're going to do with that. All right, so I'm going to scoop this in. Okay, just like that. I would let it sit on the countertop for a little while so that it's not super solid when you're trying to scoop it into your bowl. All right, done with that. All right, to that, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons, yes, tablespoons today, of melted butter. Okay, so I've already done that in advance. Now, I like to use Kerrygold butter because it's grass-fed. And how it's raised and everything is important to me. So I'm going to dump that in there with that. I'm going to also add 2 whole eggs. Voila. I also get my eggs locally. So I'm a big fan of farm to table, using local ingredients if possible, because I know how they're raised and I know where they come from. All right, so 2 eggs. To that, I'm also going to add 1/3 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. Now again, I'm the one that bought the one that's already shredded because, again, it's easier, but use what you got. Use what you got. If you don't have cheddar, you can use something else. But, again, this is Cheddar Bay biscuits, so that is what I'm using on this. Okay, so notice I'm throwing everything into it first, and then I'll mix it up. It makes it super simple. All right, so to that, I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Love garlic. If you want to use some regular garlic, you could try it, but this works just fine. I'm also going to add 1 more ingredient to it just because of how it looks when I used to get it at the restaurant, and I'm going to add a little bit of Italian seasoning to it just for some color, because otherwise it's kind of a bland looking biscuit. So I'm just going to throw a little bit in here. Now I'm going to mix it up, scoop it up, and throw it into the oven. You're going to cook it at 400 degrees for between 10 and 12 minutes. Now, don't overcook it or you'll have hockey pucks, and that's not fun. This batch is supposed to make 9, but I made 6 out of it, and they turned out phenomenal. So I cooked it at 10 minutes. They were great. It worked out very, very well. And so what you saw here just a minute ago, that's what I got there. So I'm going to scoop this onto my parchment paper. Like I said, I'm going to cook it for 10 to 12 minutes. Super easy, right? And voila. They turned out phenomenal. They taste good. Now, listen, I understand that almond flour is a different texture. It's kind of an acquired taste a little bit because it's not, of course, anything that turns into sugar immediately, like bleached flour is going to taste phenomenal, much better flavor. But again, it's not healthy for you. So we're not compromising. That's the great thing is we can have something that we love. We can make a better option. It's kind of the eat this, not that. And it turns out phenomenal. Why not? Your family's going to love it. So, all right, there you go. So Keto Cheddar Biscuits. Now I get my very best ideas from you. So if you are not on YouTube, please head over to YouTube, hit my channel under Fillmore Fitness. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get all the new stuff over there. I appreciate your business. And you guys, it's spring. I'm so excited. It's almost Easter. And that's all she said. Have a great day, you guys. Until next time, that's Meals with Melissa. Have great things.